Seal number 37. My technicians insist that I spend 1 minute not teaching the essentials while they set up the translation network. So we just pay attention to Brahma, or all of consciousness in the universe. The highest consciousness, Brahma. Contact inside with this consciousness that is everywhere. So your focus is inside, but also outside on everything. Like building a relationship. Brahma. Conscious inside and outside the supreme consciousness. You breathe and relax and be happy. Simple, happy. If all you do is personal growth and emotional integration all the time, like more than an hour every day, you're gonna grow, and you're gonna become depressed, because you would focus so much on something's wrong, something has to be resolved. While personal growth is absolutely essential, it must also be balanced by positive teachings, practice of city meditation, autosuggestion, not just entertainment, but like personal growth is like a spiritual practice if you want, more or less. So it's good to have a spiritual practice that is positive to balance the personal growth. Okay. Many integrations to be profound need more than 5 minutes. They need an hour of calm observation, feeling the pain, the ego pattern, because there's a lot of subtle things going on inside. So yes, it's good to spend time doing your personal growth. Remember at another time that you should compensate that or balance it with something simple and nice. Okay? And I'm not talking about Visantara because you like it. No, that's still looking at turbulence. You know? I'm talking about just paying attention on something beautiful or a virtue. And if you do that, not with a negative attitude, compassion, because I don't have enough. That's still looking at yourself negatively. Compassion, it's a beautiful thing. I like it. Gratitude is easy. Just be grateful for everything. That's what I mean. Good. Seal number 37. This is my left hand. Remember, Facebook or videos switch sometimes. So this is my left hand, okay? And you just grab something square or rectangle. Not with force, but just, it's not a round hand, it's a square hand, but not stressed. Okay, so just relaxed. You're holding some kind of, they say a sutra. Ahara Zaravani, okay. we'll learn this concept, and then we'll go with Navetara Bunidi, which is the other concept. Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunidi Swaha. How am I going to teach this? Word for word. First, Ahara Zaravani. Ahara is to acquire, to obtain something, to get it. Okay? To receive. It's something, whatever resource, and you get it. So that's easy. Zaravani is either an archer, someone who actually shoots a bow, or an arrowhead. Okay? So, Ahara Zaravani could be to acquire with precision. Okay? Could be pointy, peculiar. But here's the concept. If you take something with your hand, it's close. An archer or an arrowhead is precise, but it is also far. Okay? And this is what they try to transmit, to get something that is beyond your usual reach. Okay? Something distant. It will make sense once we study more the Navetara Bunidi. Okay? So, the Chinese says that the seal, number 37, is to become eloquent in all types of knowledge. Okay? It's a side effect, which is very nice, but it goes much deeper than that. Okay? Bunidi is a source of treasures. Now, in Buddhist traditions, and also in Hinduism often, the greatest treasure is knowledge or wisdom. Okay? Remember the three jewels, Tri Ratna, are the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. So the treasures, or what is precious, the treasures, the things that we will cherish, is wisdom. Okay? Now, Bunidi is not wisdom. It is a source of wisdom. So we acquire with this mantra more than wisdom. We acquire a source of wisdom. So it's not just to get the wisdom, it's to get a method through which we can obtain wisdom. Navetara. Nave is new. Navetar means absolutely not new. Okay, so Navetara basically means ancient. Okay. Navetara Bunidi is the ancient source of wisdom. Okay. Ancient wisdom today, we imagine, what they wrote 3,000 years ago. But you see, they wrote that mantra 3,000 years ago. What was the ancient source of wisdom for them? It was before writing. It was before even human knowledge. Okay. The most ancient source of wisdom is pure natural experience before any human described it in the form of knowledge or wisdom. Okay, let's be more precise here. Current wisdom is a recipe on how to cook bread. Okay. Current wisdom is how to say mantras. So it sounds good to say, this mantra is ancient wisdom. Actual ancient wisdom is before humans dialogued about spirituality. It is from even before that. Okay? How to cook bread, how to say mantras, this is acquired through education. Okay? How to walk, how to eat, this is before writing. This is before speech. It is in our genes. It is in our system. It is in nature. Okay? So you see, nature already works. Science is a external study on the surface, often in depth. But nature itself already does all these things. Ancient wisdom is wisdom purely as it is found in nature, before any explanation came to intellectualize it. Okay? So it's experience, raw experience. Now, Bunidhi is not wisdom, it is the source of wisdom. What is the source of antique wisdom? Where does that come from? That already existing knowledge in nature on how nature works. It comes from the brain, from the mind of Brahma. I crossed brain and mind and Brahma, and I said brain, but it's the mind of Brahma. Okay. So the mind of Brahma, or the first consciousness that created nature and gave it its function. Not necessarily God, if you're atheist. If you don't want to believe in any form of God, it's fine. After the Big Bang, when nature was created, it had basic laws. It functioned in a way. Maybe it's just that the universe tried many things, and many of these things failed, and whatever worked persisted. Okay? So we'll call that the primordial intention, or the primordial knowledge in all things. Okay? Before every knowledge, before every type of consciousness that humans could conceive with their mind, nature received it from its creator. Okay? So Navetara Bunidhi is not ancient wisdom, it is the ancient source of wisdom. The concept that pure consciousness in higher planes densify in nature and makes nature work perfectly as it is. And if you get in touch with that, the Navetara Bunidhi, if you get in touch with consciousness just as it explains nature how to work, you're going to acquire any form of knowledge much more efficiently. Because you're going to bypass the human density that slows down the learning process. You're going to get it directly from the atoms, from your genes, from your cells. Okay? A crude example is when they say, listen to your body. And we're not talking about the fart sounds. We're talking about feelings that rise from your body telling you, hey, eat less salt. Hey, do more exercise. Hey, my liver hurts. This is a simplified way of saying, listen to what your body has to say. Pay attention to nature. So on the surface, very close to the mind, is the body talking to you. The feelings you have, I feel this is my bones telling me something. I feel the humidity in the air. Your body educates you on what it needs as much as it can. And it's not with words. The human mind works with words. The body educates you through raw information of nature. Do you understand? So it's very raw, it's crude. Raw and crude in other languages usually are the same word. Cru, crudo. The idea that your body talks to you is still hard for a controlling mind, with a lot of Cartesian rules. And it's the most superficial for nature. Because deeper than what your body tells you is how atoms link together in chemistry. How kinetic forces transferred from one mass to another. Very deep experiences. And this ancient wisdom transcends human wisdom. Okay? So to go deep, deep, deep into the foundation of quantum reality, in the primordial intention of Brahma, we have to be focused on transcending anything human. And this is where the arrowhead comes in play. The first part of the mantra, Ahara Zaravani. Okay. Am I straight with this? Yeah. So the Ahara Zaravani, to obtain something that is far, that is deep, with precision, like surgical acquisition of knowledge. And it's not something you can do with your head. It requires contemplation and availability to transmigrate, more or less, deep into the quantum real, deep into wisdom as it was received directly from its source, the creator. The act of creation itself, when it gave a pure intention of all things. So let's contemplate the first part, Ahara Zaravani. Okay, Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. To be available in obtaining something that is usually beyond my own reach. And that means accepting that my human mind will not control the process. Ahara Zaravini. I'm going to keep this sheet because I recited that a lot. It's Zaravani. Okay, there's only one E sound. Good. Because I keep messing that one up. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. What do I mean by transcending what the human knows, or that the human doesn't control? Okay. An example I got from my friend Vincent Verano. He said at one point, I don't like to say a mantra that doesn't start with Om, like if something sacred was missing. Okay, he said something similar to that. We learned, as humans, we were conditioned. A good holy mantra starts with Om in Sanskrit. And if it doesn't start with Om, it's like something's missing. That's very human. The idea that a mantra starts with Om. What about Sarvata Kalyana Mangala Bhavantu? Okay, you don't need to remember that mantra. Some of you know that mantra. It doesn't start with Om. It's very practiced by the older students of MahaKaruna. But we learned that a mantra should start with Om. In my Qigong classes that I took, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, we learned that you had to put one hand above another in meditation. And it's the hand that I feel less comfortable with. I usually do the contrary. Then I was told the energy of males function in one way, the energy of females in another way. And I was told a lot of things in Qigong, and the pure experience of the body was my body. And I was looking in the energy in women also. Our liver is always on our right. Our stomach is always on our left. If you're a man or a woman, your body is made the same way symmetrically. Okay. And it just made no sense. The idea of doing Qigong, you need to go counterclockwise if you're a male, clockwise if you're a female. It just didn't make sense for me. And then I realized they've acquired that wisdom through human control. Okay, humans do it a certain way in order to keep women in feminine energy and man in masculine energy. And that becomes sexist. You know, it puts a limit on your energy. So that's another example. So if we stay stuck with what we know, we will not be able to receive pure, raw wisdom from the mind of Brahma, because our human mind is going to be in the way. I know many Italian people who say pasta must be cooked in a very specific way. I completely agree that you have to follow your preferences. It should be done in a certain way for pasta to be good. You know, if you've eaten Italian pasta and pasta cooked by Mexicans or South American, it's a completely different thing, okay? And that's okay to want to cook with your preference. But I know a few Italians who actually feel disgust when they see pastas not cooked al dente, not cooked correctly. So you see, it's not just preference. It's a reaction, a negative, ugh. It's not just I prefer it that way. It's actually a denial. It's subtle because it's hidden behind a good reason. Well, if you're going to make pasta, do it correctly. I understand. But we have to admit something is just not at peace, even if it's very mild. That will be in the way of gaining pure wisdom. In this case, is that pastas don't exist. There's matter, it is cooked, it can be eaten. Of course, then there's all your preference thing and human things. I get it, I understand. So I just take this as examples to say, can you admit that you're not at peace if a mantra doesn't start with Om in Sanskrit? Like, it's not just, oh, that's weird, but okay, whatever. Sometimes it's, I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable because of belief. A belief that said a mantra should start with Om. Okay, so I hope I took various examples to show you sexuality should be practiced in this or that way. Of course, with a strong sense of justice and prudence and compassion, we would never want someone to impose suffering through an act of sexuality. However, is someone like it in the other whole? I mean, it's none of my business. I don't like it personally, nor receiving or giving, but that's a preference, and it does not disturb me knowing that others like it. You see? Oh, it's getting touchy now. Okay? So I accept nature as it is. I take my example about sadomasochism. Okay, I don't like it, but it's not a preference. I literally am afraid of the idea of trying it, and I won't. No, I won't. There's no need for that. But I'm not at peace. Some people like it. There's this Japanese art of being tied up with rope in a certain way, and then you become completely constrained, and you need to trust your partner who tied you up with the rope. Forgot the name, but it's one of those things I'll never do. I am not at peace. This is my personal thing. For me, it's not preference. It would be so easy to say, well, I don't believe in this kind of complex thing. It's easy to say it's my preference. But I want to be honest, after being mildly tortured, like it wasn't 3 days, it was minutes, but it's torture. I'm afraid of these things. You see, it left a trauma. It's super easy to say, oh, it's just not the way I like sexual intercourse. But the truth is, there's something that would disturb me. I'll take another example, okay? I'm not gay. I'm completely heterosexual. And it's not a rejection. There's nothing negative or... so this is a part I know it's preference, and it's how I am. And there's nothing against homosexuality. I tried it. I French kissed a few men. I grabbed a dick. It's like, no, it's nothing. There was nothing against it, but it produced nothing in me other than good laughter and let's take another bottle of wine. So you see, in this case, I know it's only preference and there's no resistance. But regarding other topics, it's very easy to say it's preference, but I know I'm hiding a little something. And it doesn't need to disturb you. It's just that little disgust, that little, I don't want that, you know? So that's what I mean. The reactions we have on how nature is. Some people like to feel mud on their feet when they walk in the mud. It produces a feeling of being close to the earth. Other people don't like it. But, I mean, they'll clean it if they have mud on their feet. Other people feel disgust. Ugh. You know, I physically react defensively against the viscous sensation of mud in my feet. So we all have different ways. The more we use our intellectual mind to fight any phenomena of nature, the more we block the primordial source of wisdom of Brahma, and the slower we learn everything. Okay, cool? Thank you. Impressed by the honesty. Well, at one point during this little dialogue, there was a soft whiff of shame. Like, am I going to really say this on the video? But it didn't stop me. But I was not 100% clean with myself. However, it did not stop my class. I felt it. I'm ashamed of using the example that disturbs me. Cool. And I'm cool with the idea of I tried men and it's not my thing and it's just that. And I had this idea, maybe some are gonna judge me, but that belongs to them, they can use the example to see, well, okay, I'll admit I'm not clear. Okay. It's not required to try these things. Trying gay sex if you're not gay, trying straight sex if you are gay. It's not required at all. Okay? Some people accomplish themselves as saints who spend their entire life in monasteries never experiencing sexuality. That's a proof that all these experiments are absolutely not required to reach self-realization. Okay? Enlightenment, Buddhahood, or Avatar, you don't need all the experiments. You just need enough in life to gain the global perspective. Okay? The same way it's not required to be tortured or to go to war or to learn how to fight. You'll have a few. You'll have your own. Okay? And that'll be enough to expand your mind to be open to, okay, there's other things that I have not experienced and I can still get some wisdom. Not all of it, but some, just through contemplation. Okay? Now, a hard part is, I just use example with your mind. Your body will have its own reaction. Your body will, for me it's spiders. I'm not terrified, but I'm defensive because I got bitten by spiders. I am even more reactive with wasps and bees. There's a subtle terror that rises inside because I've been stung, I don't know, 30 times. It's incredible the amount of time, must be karma, how much I, as a child, as an adult, I've been stung on the legs, always on the legs, once in the face, every other time in the legs. So, yeah, I have body reactions to that. Someone I know is rats, cannot even look at them. For some, it's violence done to children. I mean, you are mentally sane if you can't see violence done to children, okay? It's nothing wrong. You should try for compassion and kindness and care for children, for example. But you see, a perfected mind will not be stricken with hatred when they see violence. They'll start to become efficient and maybe like angry, impulsive, like we must immediately act to safeguard children. But it's not going to be the poison of hatred. It's going to be an intense adrenaline rush of safekeeping, of justice, of protection. Do you understand? Okay. 10 years ago, an exercise I was giving to the acharyas, an exercise I don't give anymore. But we had to calmly see a video of someone slowly cutting the head of someone else, to see all the reaction that rises in the body and integrate them. Very dark, deep integration. And I asked them to repeat it sometimes just so that they would embrace what is this terrible pain that rises inside us when we see a murder. Of course, I don't even think it's acceptable to distribute a video like that. However, this is how it got me to have a sense of forgiveness for the Muslim that cut the head of Christians, thinking these Muslims probably have a lot of suffering for having to do that and finding peace in the act. Now, This is absolutely unacceptable, the act of cutting off someone else's head for any reason. And in this case is for having different religious belief. My God, the atrocity. That was the exercise. To be able to look with compassion towards the victim and the killer. And my sense of compassion is Shiva the Terrible. Maybe the Muslim cutting someone else's head should just die. Just erase them. These people, make them disappear. But if I say that, is there an ounce of hatred in me? Then I would have to work on myself. It's more about, I lack creativity. I don't see any way some of these people could be recuperated or re-educated. So let's just erase them all. But you see, I'm also available that maybe my eradication solution is not a good solution. And then Sakyamuni, I read something about Sakyamuni, and basically the Buddhist teaching is to believe that education over time will eventually free a society of this kind of action. So it's not working on the individuals, but on the entire society. Making humanity evolve will get us beyond that point where anyone would be doing atrocious things. So it still disturbs me, the beheading, but there's no hatred that rises. You know, it was a great art of integrity, of observing once in a while a completely atrocious act and be able to integrate deep in the body the poisons of existence and still find it inappropriate, to find it, you know, vicious, and then contemplate, what can I do? And it led me to powerlessness. I am powerless. What I can do is educate my viewers, my students, in the act of compassion, hoping that they will educate others, and the others will educate more, until the world, with all the different Buddhist traditions and all the different spiritual traditions who believe in true compassion, that the kindness will spread and atrocious actions will be relieved from the world. Okay? So that was a great example of how much in nature the poisons of hatred, of greed and ignorance, they are in the way of receiving the true profound wisdom of Brahma through his creation. Wow, that was deep. Yeah, super deep class, this class. Super intense, also like challenging the dark parts of us. Yeah. Never believe that you're done with that. Okay? There's always parts of us that are completely undisturbed and other parts that are completely disturbed by the poisons. Okay? So, one thing at a time. Start with how to say mantra and how to cook pasta and the food that you can't tolerate. Don't force yourself to eat them as a challenge. You can if you want. But don't hurt yourself. Observe what rises when there's a food you don't like. Start with that. And then it will be a belief you don't like. And then it will be a type of actions you don't like. And then it will be violence in the world, you know. The greatest saints were able to forgive murderers. And that's hard. Because you need to transcend your own animal reactions. Like, this guy kills people, he should just die. That's it. Eliminate the problem. Save lives by eliminating killers. And also, well, with a good sense of justice, sometimes that's the best. It's a balance. Good. Wow. Woo. Deep breath, okay? Deep breath, everyone. And relax that reaction to this teaching, okay? So, the Zaravani is that transcendence of any human limits that prevent me from receiving the raw wisdom from its source, directly from God. Receiving wisdom directly from God. This mantra augments the amount of revelations you receive. It accelerates anything you study, your human training, in your body, in your mind. Everything you do becomes more efficient because God is there with you doing it. But something is in the way of that holy revelation. It's what you would say, no, never forgive a murderer. This guy did this, torture to children. It's unacceptable. Of course it's unacceptable. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did is right. Forgiveness is a complete process of liberating yourself from hatred and still impose justice on these atrocities. Not obvious to understand the difference. Do not excuse murderers or rapists. Do not excuse child molesters ever. No, absolutely not. It's all about being able to release the poisons inside of us, our reactions, and then still act with justice in society. It's essential for these children to find happiness and release freedom, right? Yeah, that was a pretty fucked up class. Okay, recitation now, okay? To transcend my human limitation, to acquire something that is beyond me. Ahara Zaravani. Okay, just recite that for a minute. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. Ahara Zaravani. Good. Deep breath. Now be in touch with the source of wisdom beyond any human knowledge, understanding, belief. Okay? Wisdom as it purely comes out of nature and pure states of mind. Navetara Bunidi. The most ancient wisdom directly from the source. Navetara Bunidi. Navetara Bunidi. Navetara Bunidi. Navetara Bunidi. Good. Now all of this together, obtain the purest wisdom directly from the essence of the universe, from Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, by transcending our human limitations, by letting go of the control we have on knowledge. Allow revelations to happen. We will do 9 recitation of the entire mantra, okay? I do the mudra with the left hand. I'll count with the right hand. Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunidi Swaha. You should read it if it's too hard to remember. Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunidi Swaha. It's a Swaha, right? Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunidi Swaha. 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 Om Ahara Zaravani, wow, Navetara Budini Swaha. Okay. I'm going too slow and I'm too stuck in what I'm teaching. All right. Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunidi Swaha. Om Ahara Zaravani Navatare Bunidi. Om Ahara Zaravani Navetara Bunini Swaha. 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 Breathe, feel. Don't worry about transcending the poisons too quickly. Start with food, various practice, how you judge how people drive on the road. From the essence of nature, there's no road. There's area. There's space and obstacles to avoid. Of course, you should drive according to the laws. That allows safety on a road. And if you don't follow the laws of driving, they'll remove you from the road for being a danger. But the truth is, in the mind of Brahma, there's no law of driving. There's space and obstacles to avoid. Of course, the best way to avoid them is to follow the rules. That's how it is. Don't go against social laws in your spiritual practices. Never. No. You don't need to do that. You're not an anarchist. We don't need revolutions. We can follow the laws of our country because they do not oppress us. Except a few rare countries where the law really does oppress. You know, with the government with physical weapons on the head of its voters, this is dark oppression. Otherwise, you've got latitude to respect the laws of your country and do spiritual experiments that also are revealing of virtue and that will free you of the poisons of existence. And later, when you have a bit more courage, you'll face your trials if you care. But you don't have to face everything. It's like me and the bees. I was freaking out, and eventually I'm still freaking out, but I look at them and I don't move, and I find peace and harmony. And I know it's my body afraid. And this person I know who, with great courage, looked at dead rats to transcend her reaction, and I found that to be so courageous and beautiful. It's not required to do more, you know, it's not necessary to put you in awful states of disgust. But if you do, safely, you'll go further. So you get to choose how you evolve. The more you cross those barriers, prudence and virtuous, the more you cross those barriers, the more wise you become. But there's a point where it's just sadomasochism of spirituality. there's no need to transcend everything. You can also enjoy the ride of evolution. Enjoy the process. Right? All right. So softly and gently transcend your limits. And one day, if you're an addict of something, you'll be able to look at your suffering of not satisfying your addiction. And maybe heal from observing without satisfying your addiction. Yeah, that can help. And maybe look at people doing awful things and find it unjust, find it vicious, but not have a wave of hatred. Rather have a wave of, I'm sad for them. What can I do? Nothing. Okay, let's pray, at least. All right, one step at a time, all right? Peace. See you next week.